Nitimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshuramitanjena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Guruve Gaurachandraya Radhikaye Tadalaye Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya Tad Bhaktaya Namo Namaha. Yam Pravajantam Anupetya Apetya Krityam Rapayano Viraha Katara Ajuhava Puteti Tan Maitaya Taravo Vinedus Tam Savabhutam Hridayam Munimanatosmi Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatam Vyasam Tato Jayamudirayat Om Bhaktya Vihina Paradalakshay Kiptascha Kamari Tarangamadye Kripamai Tvam Sharanam Prapanna Brinde Namaste Charanadavindam Tave Vasmi Najivami Tvayavina Iti Vigyaya Radhe Tvam Nayanam Charanandike Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhuvya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. So we're going to continue hearing the Chaitanya Bhagavat, Madhyakanda, and we first offer our most humble obeisance under the lotus feet of our beloved Diksha Guru, Sri Nityalila Bhavishta Om Vishnu Padasta Tarasat Sri Srimad Abhaya Charnaravinda Bhakti Vedanta Swami Maharaj Srila Prabhupada, and unto our Shiksha Sannyas Guru Sri Nityalila Bhavishta Om Vishnu Pad Asta Talasat Sri Srimad Bhakti Vedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj, and our exalted Rupanuga Guru Varga. So here we are. We've been hearing about the glories of Lord Nityananda, following in sequence the discussions of the Mahaprakash Leela, where Mahaprabhu reveals himself to all of his eternal associates, according to the way in which they worship him. Right? One of the specialities of Mahaprabhu, distinct from other incarnations, the other incarnations come with their own eternal associates, right? Krishna comes with his, Vamandev comes with his, Varaha, all have their, Shringadev. But Mahaprabhu, because he's delivering the Yuga Dharma, which is applicable to everyone, even the different sampradayas, and everyone with all Ishtadev, because the holy name includes all the incarnations, devotees from all the different incarnations and avatars also appear in his Leela. And some of his most confidential associates are devotees of Lord Ram, some are devotees of Sankarshan, Lord Narayan, very varied, right? Anyway, we've been hearing about Lord Nityananda because we're preparing for the appearance day of both Mahaprabhu and Nityananda Prabhu. Also Advaita Acharya will be in that. And so we're reading first about Lord Nityananda because you can't approach or understand Mahaprabhu without the mercy of Nityananda. And that's going to be very much explained in a later pastime with Jagai and Madhai. But now, what we heard yesterday was a few things about Nityananda Prabhu, but where we left off was his very deep and confidential relationship with Malini Devi, the wife of Srivas Pandit, who internally was seeing Lord Nityananda like a boy, like her son, and Lord Nityananda in their house was in the internal mood as a boy, right? As a young boy. And this is how he treated Malini. And actually Malini in Krishna Lila is Ambika, one of the primary nursemaids of Sri Krishna, right? So we have to assume Baladev also, because they were like brothers. And so that relationship is manifesting internally here. But she's getting the special mercy of Lord Nityananda. Lord Nityananda is so accessible. Mahaprabhu could not do this kind of lila. He's showing also, just like Lord Ram did, perfect behavior and perfect etiquette of a devotee. He's teaching as the Mahaprabhu the perfect practices. And when he takes sannyas, he ratchets that up even more. It's not only for himself, but for his followers. But Nityananda Prabhu is in the mood of avadut, which means that he lives or manifests his lila a great deal of the time internally. And so no one can understand so many times what he says, what he does, why he does it. But we get these explanations of the confidential meaning of these things, which is quite beautiful. So now a crow had stolen the very the brass bowl that Srivas Pandit Malini used for ghee for the worship of their deity, and they were not wealthy. They were poor at one point. They barely had food. There's a whole pastime about that. But they didn't care. But this, Srivas Pandit would care very much about, because it was for the service of their deity. And so Malini was afraid that Nityananda that Srivas Pandit would become very angry. And she didn't want to make him angry, right? She loved him on the transcendental level and wanted to see him happy in his service. And so Nityananda Prabhu, understanding her anxiety and her trouble, called the crow. Told the crow, bring that back. And the crow brought it back. He went off and brought the bowl back. So crows like shiny objects. They like to pick up shiny objects and take it back to their place. But we know that in Krishna Lila, the crows that were there in Vrindavan were associates of Kaku Bhushandi, the crow that witnessed the Leela of Lord Ram. He lives a very long time. He's a great, great devotee in the body of a crow. So who knows? This crow also could be related. I mean, after all, he's living in Navadvip. So then she's making prayers to Lord Nityananda. And the last prayer was this. And there's a nice purport for this. For he who brought back the dead son of his spiritual master, who maintains all the universes, and who can bring a soul back from the abode of Yamaraj, it is not at all glorious to bring a bowl back from a crow. So, Saraswati Prabhupada, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Prabhupada explains that this is verse 46 and 47, and he says, the first line of verse 46 is explained as follows. That's Jai Jana Anila Murita Gururu Nandana, right? During their Mathura pastimes, Lord Baladev and Sri Krishna once went as brahmacharis to Sandipani Muni's ashram in Avantipur for studying the scriptures. In order to instruct everyone, they served their spiritual master in various ways and learned 64 varieties of knowledge in 64 days, which is actually an extraordinary thing, because each of those branches of knowledge is a whole lifetime of study in itself. They're all specialities, subdivisions of Vedic knowledge. But they learned all of those in a day each, which is unparalleled. But he already knew them all, so. He's the source of them, right? Vedaischa savayodaham eva vedyo. So, when after completing their studies, they expressed a desire to give some Guru Dakshina, Sandipani Muni, who had seen their uncommon characteristics, requested them to bring his dead son back from the great ocean at Prabhasa Tirtha. Both Balaram and Krishna thus mounted a chariot and went to Prabhasa Tirtha, or Dwarka. When they then demanded the son of their spiritual master from the ocean, the deity of the ocean informed them that the son of their spiritual master had been killed by a demon named Panchajanya. On hearing this, Balaram and Krishna entered the water, went to the palace of Panchajanya and killed him. But they did not find their spiritual master's son within the belly of the demon. They went to the abode of Jamaraj. Jamaraj duly worshipped Sri Krishna and Balaram, and according to their order, brought the dead son of their spiritual master back to life and offered him to them. That's chapter 45 of the 10th canto. So he had already been killed, his body had been destroyed, but Yamaraj could easily recreate that, which he did, and brought that dead son back, and in that self-same body, and Krishna and Balaram went back and offered him to their spiritual master. And then also, that Panchajanya, he also had the demon form of a conch. I've never seen a picture of him. I'm not sure how that works, whether he had many forms. But anyway, after they killed him, they took that conch, and Krishna used it as, or either that or he had a conch. Anyway, they took that, and that became his famous Panchajanya, which he would blow at the beginning of the Battle of Kurukshetra. Just like these pastimes of killing demons, sometimes this is how the Shamantaka manifested also, right? And the Kaustuba jewel, right? By different pastimes. They're eternally the paraphernalia of the Lord, but they will manifest in the Leela in very sweet ways. So, she goes on to say, for he who holds innumerable universes on his head and yet does not feel their weight, and for he whose holy name destroys one nescience that has no beginning, what is the wonder that he brings a bowl back from a crow? Very significant, right? So it's not this act that's astonishing to her, really, because so many people, ordinary, people could do this. We hear stories about Tansang and other musicians who could play so beautifully and sing so beautifully that the deer from the forest would come up right to them, and they would put a garland on them. This kind of mystic power. It was very insignificant for Lord Nityananda. However, she was so grateful, it stimulated her love and caused her to sing his praises of his much greater capabilities and powers. Yeah, so it's not the bowl, but look, you expand into Anantashesh, and in many forms, Anantashesh. In one form, you hold up all the planets in every universe. In another form, you're holding all the universes by your power. So what is it for you to bring back a bowl from a crow? So, Saraswati Prabhupada points out, for a description of the Lord's holding innumerable universes on his head, one should refer to the 5th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam and the 6th canto, chapter 17, chapter 25, and 6th canto, chapter 16. And the Gaudiya Bhasya commentary of Adi Kanda, for that Gaudiya Bhasya commentary, that is Bhaktivinoda Thakur's commentary on the, Adi Kanda, his own commentary on this work. For a description of the destruction of nescience by the Lord's holy name, one should discuss Srimad Bhagavatam, 3rd canto, 9th chapter, 6th canto, 2nd chapter, right? And 6th canto, 1st chapter, 3rd chapter. He gives many, many verses. And first verse of Shikshashtaka and Bhakti Samrita Sindhu. She says, while living in exile in the forest as Lakshman, you constantly remained by the side of Sita as her protector. Yet, you never saw Sita except for her lotus feet. This was when Sita was, Ram had left to chase a deer, who was actually a demon, on behalf of Sita's request. Ram and Lakshman knew that it was a demon in disguise, so he left Lakshman to protect her. But then when Ram killed the demon cried out in the voice of Ram, "Oh, Lakshman, Sita, I am dying." And Sita demanded that Lakshman go to save Ram. Lakshman says Ram can't be killed by some insignificant demon. But she was so fearful. Her prem, Sanchari Bhav of fear, was so strong that she began to criticize Lakshman and say, "You don't want to go because you have lust for me." Terrible thing to say to Lakshman, who responded, "What are you saying? O pious lady, I've never even seen your form before. I've only seen your lotus feet." He never gazed on her. Just like Baladev would never see Srimati Radhika. He never gazed at her. He would never be in the presence of Radhika when Krishna was there. So, she goes on, "For you who destroyed the entire family of Ravan by your arrows, what is the glory in bringing a bowl back from a crow? After realizing your power and glories, Jamuna Devi previously offered prayers at your lotus feet." Purport: while residing at Dwarka, Lord Baladev once came to Braj to meet his well-wishers. He stayed there for the 2 months of Chaitra and Vaishak. At that time, Sri Baladev drank the Varuni sent by Varuna, the predominating deity of water, and enjoyed pastimes with the gopis. Thereafter, with a desire to sport in the waters of Sri Jamuna, Sri Baladev ordered Jamuna to come before him. Considering Sri Baladev intoxicated, however, she neglected his order. She became bewildered by Jogamaya, right? Then Lord Baladev, the son of Rohini, became angry and began to pull Jamuna with the tip of his plow. At that time, Jamuna became extremely afraid. So after falling at the feet of Baladev, she begged his pardon by offering various prayers. Then she says, Malini, and these are all very important for us because this is establishing the identity of Lord Nityananda as non-different from Baladev, and that he is the Supreme Personality of Godhead who performs wondrous pastimes. And so his confidential pastimes with Malini have to be seen in the light of his complete identity, right? There's no transgressing any conception of mundane morality because it's not situated on that platform. So she says, for he who possesses the power to maintain the 14 worlds, what is the glory in bringing a bowl back from a crow? Still, your activities are not insignificant. Whatever you do is eternal and confirmed by the Vedas. Yeah, so even this, though, it may not appear to be so grand, and yet it is an expression of your kindness to your devotees, both to me and to the crow, right? The crow's also blessed. So, I mean, otherwise, the crow got the attention and request directly from Lord Nityananda, the order. Otherwise, what would that crow have been doing in Navadvip? Just running around doing crow things? But by stealing that bowl, he got direct association with Lord Nityananda. So that crow was very fortunate as well, right? So there's nothing insignificant about any of the pastimes of the Lord. In fact, all day long, the Mahaprabhu, Nityananda Prabhu also have Ashtakaliya Leela. And at every moment of that time, they are interacting with devotees, with the environment. In Braj, Krishna's interacting in the forests. In Navadvip, they're interacting also. There are forests, there are fields, there's the Ganga, there are unlimited devotees, right? So, no activity is insignificant. So, after hearing Malini's prayers, Nityananda smiled and in the mood of a child said, I will eat. As soon as Malini would see Nityananda, milk would automatically flow from her breasts. In the mood of a child, Nityananda would drink her milk. Such are the inconceivable characteristics of Nityananda. What more can I say? They are already known throughout the world. I mean, this is an extraordinary act of mercy by Lord Nityananda. Externally, in the body of a fully grown adult, um, as an avadut, as a sage, mystic, renunciate, and yet he's engaging in this pastime specifically to fulfill this deep Vatsalya mood of Malini, right? So, his activities are extraordinary and incomprehensible. Anyone who actually knows him accepts his pastimes as true. Extraordinary and incomprehensible, absolutely. The mundane mind and intelligence can't go there. But if we hear them with respect and honor, and with a prayer for some greed and that understanding ultimately come, then we pray that great attachment arise in our heart for Lord Nityananda Prabhu, for service to him, because he is in fact, the Adi Guru. He is the Akhanda Guru Tattva, the principle, the complete principle of Guru Tattva, the original principle of Guru in our line, aside from Mahaprabhu. But even Mahaprabhu considered him senior to him, although Lord Nityananda always deferred to Mahaprabhu. There was a battle there, internal battle. But here we see Mahaprabhu sometimes, why are you doing this? Put some clothes on, do this, do that. We heard all that yesterday. Nityananda is saying, why are you accusing me of mischief? You're the one that does mischief. They had an amazing relationship. Earlier in this chapter, when the meeting of the two was described, when he was in the house of Nandanacharya, arriving in Navadvip for the first time, and Mahaprabhu having a dream the night before that he had arrived, sending Haridas and Srivas to find him. They couldn't. And then Mahaprabhu said, oh, then follow me. I know where he is. They had gone, they thought, to every house in all of Navadvip, looking for him, in every alley, in every road, and they couldn't find him. And Mahaprabhu said, follow me. And they went down the road. Right? If you're situated anywhere in Navadvip, say you're at the Yog Pit, or say you're at the, in the Chandrodaya Mandir from ISKCON. If you're facing the Ganga, you turn left and you go down to the boat ghat, right? And down at the very end is Ishodan, the garden area, the place of Nandanacharya. And he was in that house. And Mahaprabhu was saying, I will take you there. And so we hear that without the mercy of Lord Nityananda, you can't get the mercy of Mahaprabhu. But without the mercy of Mahaprabhu, you will not get an actual guru either. Mahaprabhu, in your heart, sends you to appropriate guru for your adhikar, for your current stage of devotion. So Mahaprabhu was taking all the devotees to Nityananda. And when they opened the door and saw Nityananda, he was sitting on a bed, like a sofa. In India, the beds are multi-purpose, right? Kind of like we have futons, where they have these flat tables, and they put a mattress on it, thin mattress, or sometimes a rope bed. But they'll use it at night for sleeping on. In the day, they'll use it as a sofa, where you sit like this, So he was there, and he was magnificent, dressed in blue, his whitish, effulgent complexion, brighter than any ivory. And he was deep in mystic state. And when the devotees saw him, they were overwhelmed by his beauty, ornamented on his transcendental limbs with different bangles and jewelry, earrings. But when Mahaprabhu and Nityananda saw each other, everyone experienced this profound exchange of love. And when they came together, they embraced, looking into each other's eyes. They had been separated for the entire time of their lifetimes. Nityananda is older than Mahaprabhu, but they had not met. Mahaprabhu, by this time, I don't know how old he is. He'd gone to Gaya. He's going to take sannyas soon, so maybe 20s, I don't know, late teens. In any case, his entire life he'd been separated. Well, he had Vishwarup, and Vishwarup is an expansion of Lord Nityananda, but then Vishwarup left as well. And of course, Nityananda had been separated that entire time, and when he went to Vrindavan, he was looking for his brother, and he was calling out everywhere, "Where's Kanai? Where's Kanai?" And a voice came and said, "Oh, you're Kanai." He's not in Vrindavan. He's taken birth in Navadvip. And he's appearing as a devotee. And he's waiting for you. You should go there. And at that time, the Sankirtan pastimes had started. It would not have been appropriate for Nityananda to go before that, right? But now his devotional qualities had fully manifest. And so when they met, it was just extraordinary. And they were bathing each other in their tears. Just lengthy description. Simply wonderful. So his activities are extraordinary and incomprehensible. Anyone who actually knows him accepts his pastimes as true. We're going to hear more pastimes too. And Mahaprabhu never felt complete without Nityananda. They were inseparable, just as Lakshman and Ram are inseparable. When Ram was going to go in exile, Lakshman insisted on coming. Ram was ready to go alone. Lakshman never. And he served him the entire time. When Krishna was inclined to stay in Mathura to fulfill the desires of Devaki and Vasudeva and all the Yadus, it was thought that, Krishna can't be here. Nanda Maharaj requested, you come back to Vrindavan, we can leave Baladev here. He's the real son of them, and he'll sue their separation. And Baladev said, no, I will never be anywhere that Krishna is not. And so Krishna said, yes, that's true. I'll stay with Baladev, and we'll be back soon. But they were inseparable, except sometimes during the Kurukshetra war, Baladev was sent on pilgrimage because Krishna said, you have some favoritism towards Duryodhana, and I don't think you're going to be very happy with the way this war is going to come out, so you should go away. But even then he was saying, I don't know if I can accept or take this separation. And Krishna said, don't worry, if you ever need me, I will, just think of me and I will come. Not during the battle, but another time. And so I think I've told the story here before, but when we were in Bangalore, we would sometimes go to different cities. And in Chennai, which used to be Madras, there's a very old deity of Sri Krishna that's 5,000 years old, actually. And it's a very tall deity, and he's standing up, and he has a sword. He's like a Kshatriya, right? And the story there is that deity was that during the Mahabharata war, Baladev was there at that place and feeling great separation. And that evening he thought of Krishna so strongly that Krishna came with Daruka, and they spent the night together. And then in the morning he said, well, I've got to go back. The battle's going to happen. I've got to be there. I've got to drive Arjuna. I've got to go to work. And Baladev said, I can't stand you to leave now. Because sometimes when the separation is over, the idea of again separating is just unbearable. And Krishna said, I will stay in the form of my deity. And he manifested that deity form. And there's also Daruka there, the charioteer, on that altar, off to the side. And then he went back. So they're inseparable, right? They're non-different, actually, except in color. Otherwise, they look exactly alike, except in color. And Baladev's a few days older, and he has the abhiman of being the older brother, and thus he has some mood of protection, vatsalya. But also he's his dear friend, but also he's the servant, because Krishna is the original Adi Purusham, right, of all incarnations, and Baladev is his first expansion, right? And from Baladev, all the service is done, all the other expansions come, all the other avatars come. And Baladev is imbued also with this mood that I am the servant. I'm the friend, I'm the protector, I'm the servant in every way of Krishna. And so thus all the incarnations have that mentality too. That Krishna, they all feel that mood of service toward Krishna. And also, because Baladev, as Sandini, the predominating deity of Sandini Shakti, all the living entities, everything that exists in Braj, which is all conscious, all Satchidananda, that's imbued with that same mentality. And as the source of the first Chaturvyuha expansions, Vasudeva, Sankarshan, Aniruddha, Pradumna in Dwarka, those expansions also have that mood. And all the living entities that exist eternally in Dwarka, they're coming from that Sankarshan, that first Chaturvyuha, Sankarshan, Baladev, and they also imbued with that mood, all living entities. And those who come from Lord Narayan, the second Chaturvyuha, Sankarshan, Vasudeva, Pradumna, and Aniruddha exist in the Vaikuntha realm. All the Vaikuntha planets and all the avatars and incarnations come from that. And all the eternal living entities that are there, we say they're created. They're not actually created, but they're from the energy of Baladev. They also are imbued with that. And we as jivas, we have the same Satchit Ananda Vigraha. We have the same qualities as the Lord, but minute, and because we're coming from Baladev, we also have that mood, our eternal quality, our eternal dharma. Every vastu, every living entity has a dharma or a nature. And the nature of every created being is service to God. That is an inviolable aspect of our existence. And thus we can only be happy when that connection is made. Otherwise, trying to seek fulfillment, happiness, love by expressing it and exchanging it with other living entities or with inanimate objects will always be unfulfilling. So Baladev is the original source of that love and service for us, right? And it's manifested through the Shakti that he is the predominating deity of, and ultimately that Shakti is all coming from Srimati Radhika. So our ultimate deity and guru is Srimati Radhika for those in Braj. But Baladev is the original guru for all living entities, and in our line specifically for those who are following the mood of Mahaprabhu and fulfilling his mission of preaching throughout the world. Right? What is that? Yare deke, yare taha Krishna upadesh, amara agyaya guru tara edesh. Wherever you go, wherever you meet, preach the message of Krishna to everyone. And that is empowered by Nityananda. So, what did he do? Absorbed in transcendental ecstasy, aharnisha bhavaveshe parama udam sarva narijaya bule jyotir mayadam. Absorbed in transcendental ecstasy, the most effulgent Nityananda wandered day and night throughout Nadia. Some say that Lord Nityananda is a great yogi. Well, some say he is a great philosopher. Others may say whatever they desire. And why should they not say so? This is going to come up again. This, oh, is he this? Is he that? You know? Then Vrindavan Das says, Ye se kene Nityananda Chaitanyara nohe, tabu se charana mora rahu kalhridaye. Whatever relationship Nityananda may have with Lord Chaitanya, I still keep his lotus feet within my heart. If in spite of hearing the glories of Nityananda, one blasphemes him, then I kick the head of such a sinful person. He's qualified to do that. We may kick it figuratively. You know? We can't go around kicking the heads of the atheists. We're don't have the qualification, but sometimes it happens. Back in the day, we used to get in fights doing Sankirtan, or people would try to attack the deities or, attack the Sankirtan party, and we would have to fight, happily. In this way, Nityananda Prabhu resided in the house of Srivas. Lord Gauranga constantly protected him. There's going to be another pastime, but this is a good place to start. This is the description of Srivas, his house and his relationship with Malini. And we'll do the rest of this. We'll continue tomorrow on that. Okay, offering obeisance at the lotus feet of our beloved Srila Prabhupada, Srila Gurudev, all the assembled Vaishnavas, Vaishnavis, and especially to Lord Nityananda Prabhu. We offer obeisance, respects, honor, our humble prayers. Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bo.